Hey, good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us on Weird Awakenings. Tonight, we are talking about cryptids. We've got Miss Hadley Thorne with us, and our guys from Where in the Folk, Cecil and Tully, and our friend Stephen. I'm going to start out just a hair different this week. I want to share my screen and show you some stuff. I posted a picture from an illustrator that was doing a project on cryptids. He was hired to do this. And the aim of the project was to research and visualize one creature from each country and show their varieties and uniqueness. He came up with like 124 original characters and 6 maps of the continents and then like a world view. It took him 97 days. This guy is amazing, but some things that I never really thought of as cryptid, he's got listed in here. So it's really interesting.
Well, I was going to say, not 97 days and how many drugs?
Right? Exactly. He's got a very unique style also, which, I think is really awesome. So hold on just a second. Let me share my screen with you. Let's see. Okay. All right. Okay, can you guys see that?
No.
There's a little bit of a delay on it.
Okay. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, anytime I share, it's like maybe a 5-second delay.
Gotcha.
It's been a little bit more processing. So.
Hang on a second. Just shush.
When it happens to Cecil, we call it an ID10T.
Yep, hang on a second. I think it's a preferences issue.
Apparently, you're not allowed to use ID10T anymore.
Yeah.
Looks like you got an ID10T, brother.
I think maybe it's not letting me share because I'm going to have to reboot to do it. But anyway, I put a link to the guy on our Facebook page. So if you get a minute, go take a look. He's really good at what he does. But like I said, he's got some really interesting illustrations that he came up with. So anyway, cryptids. And just FYI, we're avoiding talking about marine cryptids this week because that's next week.
Oh, shit.
You know what? It's funny you say that, Cecil, because I literally, up until like 30 minutes ago, had a water one. and it hit me right before we jumped outside to scramble to get a different one.
I've got one that's a hybrid, like it's land and sea, like water. Is that cool?
Well, that's kind of amphibious, maybe. But yeah, like I said, next week we're doing all full-on marine cryptids.
Right.
So
Aqua cryptids.
There you go.
I'm an aqua cryptid.
Google.
So is Max going to be on with us?
Yes, he is.
Awesome.
Yes, he is. So we will have Max Hawthorne with us next weekend.
That's going to be awesome.
Love to Max Hawthorne.
Yes.
That's awesome.
The Prince of Paleo. Yep.
I know I've said this before, Hadley, but whenever you have your fancy mic on, it sounds like you're talking like in my head. You should do like ASMR with that thing or something.
This is not my fancy microphone. My fancy microphone is the one that sounds terrible.
Every time I use my fancy one, all you hear is.
Hey, I got rid of my fancy one because everybody, said it sounded really bad. And then I listened to one of my podcasts. I'm like, oh my God. So, yeah.
Logan was like, whatever you're using, use it. And I was like, this is like my $20 Sony one I got as a backup.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yep.
That sounds good.
I stole this one from somewhere.
That's okay. It's all about the stealage. So, all right. So I'm going to let Mr. Hill start tonight. Oh, and Logan couldn't be with us, just for the record, because he is actually out hunting cryptids this weekend.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
So, I can give him a pass.
That's what he
that.
calls dating these days.
That's right.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Oh,
he
man.
is a
That
character.
Yes, he is. I like Logan. I like.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sometimes he's
awesome.
misunderstood, but I like him a lot.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
He's one of the most interesting young people I have met. And I sound really old saying that, but he really is. He's just very well rounded.
Mhm.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's honest. He's honest about what he'll tell you. Sometimes you may not. Sometimes people don't want to hear what he has to say, but I mean, he's going to be honest
Yeah.
Yep.
about it. So that's and to me, I like that part.
Yeah, that matters.
Are you guys hearing like a not feedback, but almost like a stutter when Steven's talking?
It's,
Is it
yeah,
me?
like a little crackling maybe.
Yeah, it's like white noise or something, Steven. It's weird.
I need stuff like that.
Uh,
Does
Yeah.
anybody else have to have like static or something playing before they can go to sleep, like really loud?
I listen to podcasts.
I have a
listen to
fan.
music and a fan.
I was telling Morgana that every Sunday night I listen to Sasquatch Chronicles to put me to sleep.
I like to listen to static and every like so often have it like a scream.
No, because I do. There's like a couple of podcasts that I listen to, and one of them, I woke up one night and they were like having. It was sounding like someone. It was just horrible screams, and it was somebody who was possessed. And I was like, "This is not what I need to sleep to."
That's why.
But it was like someone in asylum that thought they were possessed, and the screams and all that went with it. It was terrible. I was like, I do not need to wake up to hearing this.
It
This
sounds
is-
soothing, honestly.
and some of the Bigfoot noises it's pretty terrifying to wake up to hearing.
Well, I think I've been watching too much Supernatural. I've been having crazy dreams.
Super natty.
See, I've been doing Vampire Wars and Van Helsing series this week, so yeah, right there with you.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I muted my mic and I was still.
Oh,
hearing
you're good,
that,
man.
but-
Yeah,
am I-
you're still
okay.
audible. It's just like crackling or something.
Totally
Oh,
picky.
okay. Okay. I'm sorry. All right. Where do you want to start with this? What kind of cryptid or?
Yeah. Hey, pick a spot and let's go with it. What's your favorite cryptid, Stephen?
For me, it's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That's the one I like the best. That's I guess that's the one I'm the most comfortable with.
Mhm.
I've seen other stuff, but and that's probably the reason why I go back to Bigfoot being my favorite.
Right.
So, some of the other stuff I'm not too crazy about.
So I know that you've seen a dog man because we've talked about that. What else have you seen?
I don't know. I've seen some stuff. I'm not real sure what it is. I just don't know for sure.
You're
I
amongst
had a-
friends. You're in a safe place. You
Yeah.
can share. We're not going to judge.
I don't know. I didn't see the body of the thing, but I've got a horrible picture of something with a head. It's not a Bigfoot. It's not a dog man. I'm still not exactly sure what it is. It has eyes about the size of avocados and about that shape.
Nice.
Oh,
Kinda
wow.
Kind of like a giant ant.
Oh, wouldn't that be
That's
the most
terrifying.
terrifying thing you could see?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Okay, so we're saying the size, so like an ant with a head, or
Yeah, but it's gonna be that big.
God, they could wreak
Where
havoc.
did you see this thing so I can make sure we never go there?
My yard.
Okay, Hadley. Next question.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
about giant Bigfoot.
if we're sharing personal experiences first,
Yeah,
I think I saw a cryptid once,
really.
but everybody calls me crazy. But I was a co-witness to this.
That's the people that walk down crawfish, man.
So me and one of my old elementary school friends, we were probably in middle school or early high school, and we were all into ghosts and everything like that. And we were always told that at the top of this mountain at his house, there was a Native American burial ground. And us being, 10 or 13, we were like, okay, let's go see what we can find. And we took a bunch of shovels and mattocks up there, all wood handled, and we were trying to break ground where we thought it was, and every handle on every tool broke. So we were like, okay, no. So we left. And that later that night, we're in the swimming pool, and we hear this noise, and it sounds like a horse going like the sound horses make, like not neighing, but just when they're huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
And we look over, and there is literally a silver horse walking out of the woods. And when I say silver, it looks like it's glowing. And it just walked through the yard, still like glowing, almost like what you would see like radioactive material glowing like. And it walks halfway through the yard, and it keeps like huffing and puffing, and then just walks back into the woods, and we never saw it again.
Horses are messengers between the worlds.
Yep.
Well, maybe he was telling us not to
go to the burial ground. That's fascinating and kind of beautiful.
It was very scary at the time, because you can imagine where we were in the pool, so you're in a very vulnerable state anyway.
Right.
And then this massive horse is like probably less than 50 yards away.
Horses can't swim.
They can too. But I don't know what it was going to do.
Jump off the diving board.
Yeah.
Cannonball. Cannonball.
There you go. I don't know that I wouldn't say seen, but it always makes a huge difference when you've got someone else that sees something too. It validates it, And I'm not a big proponent of mass hallucination where drugs are not involved. And even when drugs are involved, you're not going to generally see the same things,
Right.
And but we were out. I know that probably all of you have heard Hadley talk about the cypress swamp that she used to go to a lot.
Yeah.
And we were out there one night, and I didn't actually see, but you could hear in the woods. There was this smell that just permeated and everything. And then I think somebody else actually saw. Hadley, back me up here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that happened out there.
Right.
Where things were seen, things were smelled. Are you talking about the night that we were all out there and we did the drumming?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so let me tell about the drumming. So I had this incredible elk skin created by this Native American shaman drum. And
did you say no drugs?
No drugs. No drugs, no alcohol. I wasn't drinking. And so I had the drum, and I had been beating it just to kind of, well, one of our friends' husband came up, and he said that there was something. He goes, "You want to see a Bigfoot?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he showed us. He said it's across there, and he showed where it was. A little while later, he came back up, and it's like been a couple of hours, and it had gone from being like dusk till being dark. And he asked us if we wanted to see it, and I did not want to go see the Bigfoot because there was like 3 of them that had crossed the river because we were at River Bend, and my friend Nikki had wanted to go and see it, and she came back and she said she did. So we all had kind of walked down. There was a garbage bin, and this is a place that people would stop and have picnics and stuff. And we started walking up there, and that odor was just real strong, and which I know y'all have been around swampy places. To me, it's a swampy smell. Mm-hmm. It's that
wet fur swampy.
Wet fur, kind of
musky,
rotted foliage, stagnant water kind of smell, sour kind of smell.
Me on a 5-day bender.
Well, it's also and this is it's the same. It's not the same, but very similar to like the way a like water moccasin would smell.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But much larger smell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like,
See,
so
like-
that's all you could smell.
Yeah.
I think that humans have like a primal instinct when they smell like copperheads or water moccasins.
Right.
It's like a danger instinct. Did you feel like threatened whenever you were there?
No.
Well, I think that as humans, we've kind of lost that part of our brain. You know, that I think we wouldn't recognize it if it was that. Now, there have been times when I've smelled it when we were like out at after dark on the cypress swamp path, and now this is a very small area, and if I can find some pictures, I'll show y'all sometime. But there's maybe 2 feet from you to the water, and then there's like a embankment kind of thing, the trail's right there, and I smelled it go from one side to the other and never saw anything, and that freaked me out.
That would be crazy.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't scary, but I didn't feel threatened.
No. Well, Erin said that whatever she saw was very thin. She said it was very thin and very tall, like pine trees. Like, you know how a thin pine tree is?
Yeah.
That it wasn't thick. And I always thought of Bigfoot as being massive.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe the ones we have here in Mississippi aren't necessarily that big. Maybe they're thinner to keep, maybe they've adapted to whatever the forest is like here, which we have a lot of pine trees.
That, and it also being super, super hot down here too. I would think that would have some effect on the adaptation too.
Yeah, and it was in the middle of freaking summer because it was like midsummer. Was
Yeah,
it midsummer or was it like Lunasa?
I think it was well, no, you know what? I think it was midsummer. I do think it was midsummer because, like I said, it was so ungodly hot that, ridiculous. But like I said, I'm like you, I mean, there were other times that we were out there that you could definitely tell something was around that had not been earlier.
Did you all see where they admitted that there's a huge underground forest in China this week?
No.
I thought that they had already done
What?
that.
No.
Yeah, whenever we jump off, just do a quick Google or Brave or DuckDuckGo, and if you just Google something like huge underground forest in China, it looks like it looks and sounds and feels like Hollow Earth to me.
Wow. Hey, Mark.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, and we've got somebody that's got a story.
I want to hear it.
Who's here for a good time?
That's right. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Ancient forest found at the bottom of a huge sinkhole in China.
See, that's amazing and just fascinating to me.
Well, that's just like the one they found in Vietnam. Like, it's got its own climate.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
You know, one of the entrances to Hollow Earth allegedly isn't far from Cecil and I. It's supposed to be in Mammoth Cave.
Mammoth Cave.
Oh, wow.
Really?
There is a cave there. I can confirm
It's a mammoth of a cave.
that nobody is allowed to go into, but they cite the reasons as being there's bats.
African bats. African bats.
African bats in Kentucky, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. African
Oh, yeah.
bats.
While we're on this subject and talking about cryptids, do you guys remember, me and Tully was talking about this earlier, the truckload of monkeys from the CDC that crashed in Pennsylvania
What?
long ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a nightmare.
Well,
Yeah, the lady stopped, didn't know what was going on, and got attacked by them.
well, they
I
told her
bet. Monkeys
told her
are
it was a-
fierce.
they told her it was a cat, like cats, and she went up to him and went, "Hey, kitty, kitty." And literally
Okay.
died.
I firmly believe stupid should hurt. It's the only way you learn from it.
That's like a Dumb and Dumber moment when he's like, "Pretty bird."
But do you know now what we have in New England? An outbreak of monkeypox. I don't know how we got here.
Well, they're coming from the CDC. It's like that movie.
Couldn't have.
Well, yeah, those monkeys were contracted by the CDC for sure.
They were.
The company got fired after that incident allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly,
Yeah.
I like
Well,
it.
in about 6 months, whenever you bring up that wreck that released all the monkeys, when everybody's got monkeypox, everybody's gonna be like, "You're crazy. That didn't happen."
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more to that than
The monkey. I can't wait to hear where they say it came from.
oh, I know.
One man from overseas. One man. He came in and he spread it to everybody.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
All it takes is one person with no sexual boundaries.
Oh, don't worry.
Oh my God! You know that. We as in Cecil and I were always taught that that's where AIDS came from.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I tried to tell that to people up here around Cincinnati, and they think I'm absolutely crazy. Like they never heard that, like, ever.
And now we know that the CIA distributed that. So.
It's,
Well, back to the cryptid. So that was that little area there. There was just something there. I mean, we saw a lot of weird stuff up there, but
Yeah.
I had taken a friend of mine. We just went. She was about to move, and we had gone up there just to sit and talk and catch up before she left town. And it had gotten dark, and so we were sitting out in this little field overlooking the river, and there was, I swear that you could see the shadows crawling on the ground, and I mean tangibly see them. It was very, very real. And then later, when I was diving into the cryptid stuff, I found out that's something that a lot of people see and associate with cryptids. And that's some freaky stuff, because when looking back on it, because you think your eyes are playing tricks on you and you're safe, and then you realize there's something really in the dark with me. There is a possibility of something really big being in the dark with me, and I'm too human to see it.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah. That weird sensation of feeling something watching you. And that is a very accurate feeling, because I've never found that when I feel that there wasn't someone watching me, or that there wasn't something I couldn't see watching me.
Right.
This is something I pull on from my stories, is that we had a candle, or I think we had some citronella candles to keep the mosquitoes away. And I'm not one, I don't really like to have lights on in the dark, because to me I can see better when I don't have anything on. But it was like they were saying just out of the firelight, just past that candle where you can't really see, but you kind of do. It was freaky. But Stephen, I'm sure you're familiar with this, because I see you sitting there grinning. So tell me more.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll tell you more about that. It's that was basically what happened the last time I got to go out with Lauren and Ryan, and Lauren's brother was with us that night, and they came up close enough that she was finally able to see eye glint. She just got to see a little bit of a glimmer of the eye, but they wouldn't come up any closer, and that's the and that's part of it. But I guess I'll go ahead, and since we're on World of Cryptids and we're on weird realities, I'll go ahead and tell you what I experienced up around Mena, Arkansas. Last year, there were 3 of us up there. We were on the bridge, and we could hear, we'd heard a wood knock or a tree knock, and then I don't know, this was probably 30 or 40 minutes later, we came down. Everybody gathered up on the bridge, and I could hear something coming through the brush. Of course, all 3 of us were looking at that direction. We could hear something coming through the brush, and no doubt there's something coming. Whenever it got close enough that I thought this thing's going to be crossing the ditch and coming into the road here any second, whatever it is, I turned my light on. Well, there wasn't anything there. There was nothing. Nothing that we could see anyway.
So it sounded like something just busted out of the woods, and it was like a got you moment, except nothing was there.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. But,
That's wild.
Hey,
hey,
Mona.
Hey, Mona.
My response to that would have probably been to unload in that general direction.
But see, that would be the one time there would be an actual human behind a tree. You just couldn't see them, but your bullet would find them.
That's like a predator moment. Like
They're coming straight for me.
Oh no,
Exactly.
y'all! I was watching this guy that he's a border patrol agent, and he's into paranormal stuff. And so this paranormal team was interviewing him. This is out around, I think, gosh, what is it? Somewhere in Texas. But he was telling stories about they had these guys that were, their agent was out, and they would locate people. They had a team of military operatives that were there that night, and they were watching people with their FLIR. And they were watching someone, and they sent the agent out to get them. And the agent, they're like, "You're right on top of them." And he's like, "I don't see anybody." "You're right on top of them." And then they started going, "Dude, just come back right now. Come back. Just forget about it. Come back." And he's like, "But I don't see them." They're like, "Just come back. Just come back." The guy that was there was standing like face to face with this person. They had their finger pointed at his face, like right to his nose. That's how close they were to him. He never saw them.
Huh.
They show him when he gets. They show the agent when he gets back on the FLIR. The guy was that close to him. He said, "I never saw a thing." And they had a lot of encounters like that. And it gives me the chills just thinking about it. It's so freaky because that's when I start thinking, well, I mean, is it a layer between the worlds? Because that's where I'm at. But because we don't have that kind of technology that I know of. I mean, it was like really creepy. But they had another encounter where it was a cryptid. That there was a cryptid on tape that they saw, and they were freaking out because it was really big and it was like right on top of this guy. And they just told him that it was like a mountain lion to get back. Sorry. Hey, Audrey.
Mountain lion.
Audrey says that Bigfoot has a cloaking ability.
Yeah.
Or clocking. I think she means cloaking.
Cloaking, yeah. It's
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and you're going to find more and more people who will agree with that today. See the way the things have turned out. Everybody, a long time ago, they always thought that it's flesh and blood. It's just a big North America's great ape or something like that.
Mm.
But
I mean, it would be right.
Yeah, but I'll go ahead and say this. People who go out there in the woods looking for Bigfoot, sooner or later, they're going to run into some other stuff that does not fit in that box.
Mm-hmm.
Like what, Stephen Hill?
Like when you're up on a ridge and your audio recorder stops and your light stops at the exact same time. Your light goes out and your audio stops at the same time, and you're standing out there in the dark. That happens.
Yeah.
That happens more often than what people want to think it does.
It will only take one time.
Yeah.
People run into what are called orbs out there in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I actually have, and it's a little off, but it's relevant. Back several years ago, I was doing some stuff moon related out back, and I had made this. It's called a goddess tree, and you just you paint it and you put things that relate to you on it, and the full moon's out, and you just meditate. And I took pictures because a friend of mine had asked me, if I would take pictures for her. And after I got back in and downloaded them, there are light flares and different color flares and orbs and stuff all over the place. I never saw those things, you know,
Right.
but when I downloaded those pictures, it was amazing.
But it showed up on the picture.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got game camera pictures of stuff that looks like ectoplasm. If
Mhm.
you've ever seen that before,
Crazy.
or familiar with what it is. Yes,
Crazy.
I've got
This
game
is-
cameras. I've got game cameras that don't work anymore.
Mhm.
Set them out there. I had a game camera out. I thought I was going to be smart and set one out last summer. I think I set it out in July and I left it out there for 2 months. I didn't get one single picture of anything.
Oh, wow.
Not a rabbit, not a coyote, not a crow, nothing.
Crazy.
Not a deer. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay, that's like impossible.
It had brand new batteries and a brand new SD card in it, and I've got 0 pictures on it.
Wow.
There, see what it is. This is all a big mystery to me, and I consider it just a hobby. But sooner or later, you're going to see things, and you're going to wonder if Pandora's box has been opened.
Mhm.
You know, there are too many reports where people have seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have seen wildlife of some kind.
Mhm.
But that's just crazy things. Just like the pictures I shared with y'all some pictures last week. You know, just that little bitty small thing that was standing in front of me when I was in front of the game camera putting treats out, and I had no idea that little thing was there. It wasn't until we checked the cameras later that we discovered that this little bitty thing, whatever it is, a foot tall or however tall it is, I'm standing 2 feet from it, and I have no idea it's even there.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. It's amazing what a camera will capture.
Yeah, and
I think I'm just gonna start like randomly throwing a haymaker every now and again. just keep them guessing, you know. Like they just never know.
yeah.
And people at the store might be a little adverse to that, but
Mhm. Yeah.
go ahead.
Talking about going back to the insect, do you think insects could be considered cryptids? Because if so, I've got one from when I was at Bible camp one time.
What was it?
It might be a real insect. I don't know. I still don't know. But I was at Bible camp. I was about 12 years old in Bettyville, Kentucky, and we was off to ourselves on the hiking trail, and we ran across a beetle that was from wrist to elbow. And you know those ones that look like they had the trunk on them like this?
Yeah.
It had that, but it had 2 sets of wings.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Like it had one set up here and it had like a little smaller back set. And I remember it was big enough. It was almost like packing a chicken because we packed it back to, it was like this big. You know? We
Wow.
packed it back to the chapel and was like, what's this? And they was like, oh, drop that, wash your hands, you know, and then they threw it away.
So
It was dead.
if it wasn't cryptid, at the very least, I would think it would be something paleo.
Like legendary.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It tripped me out, but when we found out it was dead, we was like, oh, cool, you know, because we sticks and stuff.
You know, I know that usually when people think about cryptids,
I agree.
that could be.
Yeah.
It was huge. You got to think, when I was 12 or 13 or however old I was about the size I am now.
Mhm.
So I don't know, from here to here, that's probably 14 inches maybe.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And one thing, whenever I was doing some research just on stuff we could talk about, like there are also, you know, not just fauna, but also flora that are considered cryptid.
Mm-hmm.
And there were accounts of, I believe the first one was in Madagascar, of a tree. And I think they called it a look at me tree. And the way that it was documented, this tree basically had serpent-like. What are we looking at?
Okay, I'm going to show y'all fire elementals.
Oh, cool.
I see.
This is at a, I believe it was a Yule thing that I did with some friends of mine, and I took pictures. Now, you cannot see this with the eye, but I basically just put my finger down on my camera, and I want y'all to see some of the stuff that I caught. This is the first time this has been shown on TV or whatever we're doing, but you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Little dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hold on. See that?
Uh-huh.
And I've got one. I mean, y'all hadn't seen anything yet. I've got one that's incredible. That one.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
And let's see. But if you are one of the people and you start taking pictures of your fire, you'll be surprised what you'll find.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see. I think there might be one more that's just crazy, interesting. Maybe I'm wrong. Well,
See, that to me is crazy.
oh yeah. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing. I have some others that I'll show y'all sometime when I can find them. But I always have discovered since that night is if you pay attention, there are fire elementals in your stuff.
Yep.
Because they're attracted to us.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean by people who are interested in this sort of thing.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
I'm just so glad it's not me. It's usually my animals.
Daddy's home. They're saying hello from inside.
But no, I've that's when you start talking about stuff like that. All this stuff is around us all the time, and it's those people who are curious enough to look for it that see it.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm
Or you
married
just
to-
get lucky.
I'm married
Or
to
you
a
just get lucky.
firebug, so you get lots of opportunities to observe.
I'm also a pyromaniac.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys that. Cecil knows.
Yeah, every time I go there, Tilly's like, I'm gonna build a sweet fire.
Oh yeah, that you have to stand 20 feet from because it's so damn hot.
Yeah. And there was
Yeah,
one time,
that's Mo.
Last time we went down there, it was like, they got me a KFC log. We're gonna see how this son of a bitch smells.
yeah, they had a fire log that was supposed to smell like KFC chicken.
And how was it?
It smelled like
It wasn't very KFC.
Will do, Audrey. Okay, so yeah, KFC logs. that's a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, and I really do, I mean, I know that there are other elementals out there. I mean, because you can feel them if you just sit and you open yourself up. But the fire ones are so much more noticeable, because it's something
Great
you can
minds,
physically
Laura.
see.
Well, I've seen like what Stephen had the picture of. We've seen those out at Cypress Swamp, but it was like a little army of them.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I mean, and when I said, I mean, it wasn't, you could see them with your eye, but out there, like I said, it was one of those places where it was like the veil was down and you could see things at certain times of the day or certain times of the year. You could see things, but it was just like I said. I haven't spent time up there since they've had all those storms go through and destroy the trees. But the trees that were up there were, God, they had probably been there for longer than the United States has been formed.
Oh, I want to hear the story.
Yeah, we want to hear the story, JFK.
Oh, I was wondering if he just dropped off or something.
Tell it in the chat.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want to put it in the chat, I'll try to read it and I'll mispronounce everything. If you
Hey, that's the reason I didn't mention the artist from Lithuania's name earlier, is because I'm not going to butcher that. It's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I was given one of those, a map similar to that for Christmas, this past
Cool.
Christmas.
I've got a map kind of similar to that I picked up at the Paranormal Museum. But it's only of Kentucky. Sorry in the comments.
I don't see it. Hey, they're on Twitch. I think we don't. This is our first Twitch person.
Oh, Twitch.
Oh, Twitch. Okay.
Okay, Hadley, you're going to have to handle that because I don't even know how to get to Twitch.
Yeah, I don't either. It could be problematic. You might need to email it to us at weirdrealities@gmail.com, and I will.
Yeah.
Or they
Get
can
over
jump
it.
on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can jump on Facebook for sure.
Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. It was Scary Encounters. Yeah. I know
We do
people
have
who've
Twitch. We don't use it often, Laura, but we've got it.
Okay.
We do. We've been streaming there since we started streaming everywhere.
I have
Yes,
seen
Laura.
wind manipulation.
I live in a hurricane zone where you can see things actually moving your trees around. And like I said, it's not going, yeah.
I saw an event last night. So there was a really bad storm, like a go into your basement storm here last night.
Yeah.
And I'm standing out in it, of course. And
They're awesome.
and so the lightning is so rapid that you can see that, like all the clouds, and there's a funnel cloud and pretty far away. Like it was moving, so I know it wasn't coming toward me, and as the funnel cloud was kind of moving across, the tail of the funnel cloud, like where it came from, there's like all these huge pops of red light and green light and white light.
Yeah.
And everybody saw it. It was
I do that all the time.
Very weird thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
yes,
so it comes down to not only are we weird, but we're probably a little bit crazy.
What did you say, Cecil?
I manipulate wind all the time.
I wasn't even going to touch that because I knew exactly where he was taking it. But yes, Laura, we do. We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did it a few minutes ago.
I don't know because I am. Have y'all ever had your zodiac houses done?
No.
I thought I did yours for you back years ago.
I've had mine done. I've got no earth signs.
See, here's the thing. I'm a Cancer with Cancer rising and an Aquarius moon. So out of all of my houses, I have one fire, 2 earth, and everything else is wind and water. So I'm I've got just enough dirt to make mud, just enough fire to make steam, and just enough air to make a damn hurricane.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm vacant.
Yeah, I'm not grounded at all. Go figure, right? Out of all of mine, I am a Aries sun with a Pisces moon and a Gemini ascendant, and I have absolutely no earth houses in my zodiac.
I'm a Libra, and I was born the year of the ox. That's all I know.
Aquarius rise.
Well, we'll have to dive into this. I know she's not here tonight that I've seen, but Miss Chasey, she does zodiac stuff. I think I could be wrong, but I thought that she did.
I thought so too. I think I remember seeing her on another podcast one night reading cards.
I think so too.
I think I'm a year of the horse, Taurus.
Taurus.
Well, I'm a monkey and I'm married to a dragon, so they're perfectly matched. But my daughter's a tiger, so technically we're supposed to avoid each other at all costs. And growing up, that's why I believe that this Chinese zodiac is accurate. Because this kid and I hated each other.
I am a wood rat, and the rat is the most auspicious of the signs.
Did you say hood rat?
Wood. Because the is wood, metal, water, something else, isn't it? That
Wood,
influences
wood, metal, water, wind, and fire.
I think Cecil's ruled by that too.
What? What? I was drinking.
Yeah, I have no
When's your
idea.
When's your birthday, Audrey? We'll look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, I'm a Sagittarius, I think. So,
When's your birthday?
12/6/71.
Yes.
Yep.
My husband's a Sag.
No, okay.
Y'all are the happy ones. You're
Yeah.
the just let everything slide off of you.
1971.
Yeah, 1971.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
I'm
that.
old.
We're old. Just leave us alone.
He was born the year of the pig.
So, like, all of us are different.
Great. Yeah.
July the 21st, you are a Cancer. Barely. You're on the cusp with a Leo. So you could have,
Oh, you're dangerous, Audrey.
yes, and you could definitely have personality from both.
Yep.
Mhm.
Huh.
So you could be a mother that has a temper.
I want y'all to know, because I mean, seriously, which I'm not going to tell y'all how many people I've dated, but I tend to date a lot of Leos. So
I
there is
birthed
something to be
one,
said.
and he can be an asshole.
Yeah, they are. They are.
if
They're
you were
very
to-
egotistical.
If you were to talk to Rachel, she would say that I am a classical Taurus.
Yeah. Bullheaded, are we?
Very
Yeah.
much so.
But I just calls me a prick a lot.
I could
All
never
right.
imagine why.
I'm reeling y'all back in because I really want to talk about the cryptids. So we
Okay.
got Stephen Hill here. Let's talk about the dogmen, Stephen.
The dog man. I did not want that to be real.
Yes, Laura.
Because we had a pretty good Bigfoot research area. We still have it. And we started seeing signs. See, I sent you pictures of the trackway last week.
Mhm.
You can share it if you want to, or if not, no big deal. But the first time I found a trackway was in 2019. This was definitely a canine track. I had to spread, if I can get lined up, had to spread my fingers out like that. 4.5, 5 inches wide in the width, a little bit longer. And it wasn't lined up just one foot in front of the other, but it had a slight offset to it, maybe like a 5 or 6 inch difference from each step. And it had about the footstep, the stride, it ranged from about 30 inches up to 36 inches in the stride. And for whatever reason, I didn't take a picture of it, didn't video it. I should have. It was the trackway that I sent you. That's the one I found in 2020. And you can tell that you're looking at a canine with that, and those right there are lined up right in front of each other. And I think the difference is between one walking and one that's running. Is what that's what I believe the difference is on that.
That makes sense.
Then it was in February of 2021. That's when I actually saw the dog man. I was out there, William and I were together whenever we saw that. And that thing, we're guessing it to be around 6 feet tall, but you can tell by the picture, that I sent you. I mean, it's pretty thin. Cecil thought it looked more like a skinwalker.
It did. It looked a lot like a skinwalker to me.
And I still can't share. Damn it.
Okay. But I mean, that right there is just some.
Either one's terrifying.
Yeah.
Dogman or skinwalker. I mean,
Yeah.
You don't want to run across either one.
Have you ever heard any whistling while you've been out?
Yeah, I've got whistling recorded.
What do you think that is?
I think that's Bigfoot.
There's kind of a mixed bag on that one. Like it's just kind of a known thing, especially in, I guess, northern Appalachia. If you hear like whistling or somebody say hello, you never respond.
Whenever I used to ride in a lot, that happened all the time. You hear people say, "Hey, hello, what's up?" Things like that. I always thought it was people out in the woods, like tending to the crop or something.
I do not have access to my photos, or I would show your track, but I do want to show this because I want people to see how
That
big
track's interesting, too.
some wolves get, just for size comparison. So let me.
I should be able to get that picture up here, Stephen.
Okay,
All
awesome.
Yeah, that track's pretty cool.
Yep.
And the picture of the actual beast.
Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
look, totally.
that gives you a big idea of how big one's head could be, and the size of a leg.
That looks almost just like
Yes.
Tully's dog Remy.
That's about how big he is too.
Yeah, it is. Oh, sweet little Remy.
Okay. I have like a serious issue with wolf hunters, for the record.
Me too, but look at that.
Mhm.
I reckon
Yeah.
some places they get to where they overrun stuff. I believe.
Well, that's when people say they're like the size of German shepherds. It's like no, wolves get really big. People
Yeah.
just don't realize it.
I knew somebody who had one that was half timber wolf and half gray wolf, and he was, I think, 11 when I met him, and his back was higher than my waist.
Wow.
Yeah, look at
You know.
look at this.
Mhm.
His girth is more than her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm gonna turn that off. That makes me sad.
Yeah, Laura, that you're talking about that whistling. They mimic whistles. I'll tell you, we had a boxer. She was one my wife rescued, and there were certain times of the year whenever she would get kind of aggressive. So we would put her outside, to kind of let her work off her energy. We put her on the chain, and I'd go out there one night to let her in for the night. And whenever I was letting her off the chain out there in the woods behind the house on the hill, I could hear something whistling, like it's whistling for the dog. And my daughter, she was in the kitchen at the bar doing homework, and I was trying to explain to her what the whistle sounded like, and she whistled, and it was my daughter's whistle.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, why does it look weird on there, Tully?
It might be where it might have been zoomed in on the one that I saved.
It was clearer when you sent the other day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It does look clearer on the phone.
It's intense because you can fully see a wolf's head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy with those little bitty legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Legs.
That's the reason I
That's
feel
the-
like it's like right there's the track. Some tracks are intense, really.
Yeah.
The reason I think it's a skinwalker, though, if you go back to it, look how massive that head is. And
Yeah.
you just got that little bitty body.
Mhm.
Rougarou.
Well, I don't think it's and this is again my brain just looking at it.
You can see.
I
the
think
ears.
there's something wrong with its front legs, and that's why it's like that. Because
Well,
look how skinny those little legs are, and that's not
Yeah.
right for an animal that big.
It almost
Yeah,
looks like arms to me.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
This looks like a skinwalker because the arms and the body look like human,
Yeah.
but that looks like
Well,
a wolf.
whatever.
And
That's
you
Yeah,
can't tell it from that picture, but the one you sent us, you could actually see the snout.
Yeah.
Like it was intense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
has
don't
the
know.
ears laid down. To me, from the time I took the picture and I've looked at it, I've always thought, my goodness, the head almost looks too big for the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to share one more time. I think I can point it out, like what you were talking about, Cecil, because I just looked at the picture again.
Brighten it up.
Let's see. Does someone have to approve me to share?
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
There you
You're
go.
fine.
sorry.
So like, here's the jawline.
Uh-huh.
There's the nose. There's the eyes.
Eyes,
There's the ears, and it's got this huge like humpback almost.
Yeah.
Or like mane,
Uh-huh.
and then the legs look super weird. The back legs.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like it's literally like it had just picked something up and was standing back up.
Bob, you can change it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit. I've seen some illustrations of people doing werewolves. That it almost has kind of that same mane and that huge head compared to the rest of the body.
Did you say I can change it?
Man, it could have been a werewolf. Like, They could have been any variety of that. That's wild looking. It trips me out. I don't know if I'd fist fight that one. I'd fist fight Bigfoot.
Come on, I put some money on you, Cecil. A couple dollars anyway.
Tell me you don't have to share that if you don't want to, but that's what we found out there a while back.
That's what I said was Rougarou.
Coyote. Yeah.
Are you from Louisiana, Laura?
What did you just say? I missed it.
Oh, a Rougarou.
Well, okay. So last weekend, I go figure watched the Northmen, and in the Northmen, they very accurately portray the wolf cloaks. They were warriors. They were basically like priests of Odin, and they were very elite warriors. But they wore wolf cloaks, and that's also similar to what this picture of the wolf thing or dog man reminds me of. Is it's somebody with a hat of a wolf head on, and then it has the legs hanging down.
So we could be looking at a Rougarou, a werewolf,
Or
a dog man, a skinwalker, or a ghost.
and how did Alex Sascar look in that movie?
Do you really want me to tell you? I
All right, no, I've been looking at the pictures all week.
No, it was, and just FYI, it was a phenomenal movie. I recommend anybody watch it if you're interested in Norse mythology and Norse history. It was very accurately done. So.
A little bit of
Check that out.
It's on my list.
Yeah.
I watched Clark with his brother in it this week. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I watched the Stockholm Syndrome movie that his brother did. That was
Yeah, that's
good
the one.
too.
Yeah, Clark.
It's really funny, but he's kind of gotten out of his pretty boy stage, and he's looking kind of masculine now too.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
Was he it?
Yeah, he's been.
Yes.
Okay.
And they didn't CGI his eyes either. They just looked like that.
I think he is a much better actor, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, you just keep your mouth shut. 'Cause we're not talking about that.
Tarzan. I mean, come on.
He didn't have to act. The only thing he had to do was to show those
Right.
abs.
Right.
The abs and all the acting that we needed.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, okay, the show Justified. And you know, I like Timothy Oliphant and I love Walton Goggins. But I could have just sat and watched the two of them bantering back and forth. They could have played that for an hour, you know, and they wouldn't have had to do anything else. The dynamic between them was fantastic.
Walter Goggins is the man.
Yes, he is.
Is that the guy that played in Sons of Anarchy and
Cletus Von Dom.
Yes.
Yeah, he was Venus or
Venus.
Yes, Venus.
and the Righteous Gemstones?
Yes.
I love the right.
He is so...
One of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's great because he can go from Sons of Anarchy to the character in Justified. I mean, you know, and they were worlds apart. So
in House of
He was
$1,000
in The Shield too.
I never watched that.
The Shield was pretty good.
He was in the House of 1,000 Corpses.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one either.
Back to cryptids. Back to cryptids.
You got us off subject when you started talking about Alexander Skarsgård.
Well, I
can't
was
bring out
actually
the
saying about the wolf
Skarsgård.
thing with the
Yeah.
clothes. That
Okay.
Yeah.
Good segue.
Tully's the
into-
one that had to go into Tarzan. Okay, anyway. So what other types of cryptids are there out there? I was I don't know if I was talking to Morgana earlier about the predator-like stuff that you hear about people seeing. What do you think about that, Stephen?
Well,
Have you come into encounter anything like that?
one of the strangest things that I don't know. I've encountered some strange things. I'll go ahead and tell you this. I was at work one day and had to stop and take a break for a few minutes, and I was just looking at this private property beside where we were working, and we had like a 3 mile an hour breeze It is just almost a completely still day. But there was a tree over there that was just shaking, just back and forth like that. And I thought, what on earth is shaking that tree? Because the wind, there wasn't enough wind to do it. And so I thought, well, I will take a picture of this, and maybe I can zoom in on it later when I get home, and maybe I can see something. And at the phone I was using at that time, I don't know if y'all had a phone like it, but it would do it'd do like a 3-second video before it would actually take the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you go back and you look at your pictures, you can play the view in motion before it actually takes the picture. And I was doing that, looking at it, see if I could see anything moving or anything around this tree that was shaking. About 2 seconds into that video, so you count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, there's this ball of light that forms up and just shoots off.
Nice.
I don't know what it was, but I mean, what do you do with that type of stuff? I mean,
Talk to people like us.
Yeah, I guess I could tell y'all about it. But
I actually had read where like it was something, I want to say like maybe it was Appalachian folklore talking about the balls of light, and that the different lights mean different things. Like if you see a blue light, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember, it's one of those things that I probably shut the window down without meaning to.
If you see a blue light, run is what we.
Well, yeah, well, that's what it was saying, is that the blue light was dangerous, but I can't remember, because I remember thinking it should have been red, shouldn't it? But it was blue. But that each of the lights meant something different, and that the old people, the old folks, they knew. And so there's stuff like this all in our folklore and legends. It's just that I know, like for me, growing up listening to my mamaw talk, that I just kind of just didn't really listen to her like I should have, because I thought, well, that's just kind of nonsense. She just doesn't know. And then as I got older and became more aware, I realized how much wiser my mama was than I gave her credit for.
To ask questions. Yeah, got right there with you. One thing that Hadley and I were talking about before we got started was the similarities between what people consider cryptids and what people consider fae or mythological beings. Mm-hmm. Because, okay, so a dragon could definitely be a cryptid. I mean, a thunderbird, things like that. So,
that was actually one that I was going to cover. I had Thunderbird queued up.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so like I said, to some people they're strictly nothing more than, some strange tale that Mama used to tell us that we didn't listen to, and that they that there's a very close similarity between the two. So, why couldn't a dragon be a cryptid?
I told you that I saw on, y'all know that I watch the YouTube all the time. And I say the YouTube, not because I'm old, but because I think it's funny. But I was watching YouTube, and it spun over to there being dragons in Yellowstone. Mm-hmm. And that, and again, if you start, there actually was, someone saw one, and, it was documented and some things like that. But it was talking about like the pools of the hot water and stuff. I can't think of what they're called.
Geysers?
Not the geysers, but like the pool that you can fall into and it'll burn your skin off.
Oh yeah. The sulfur pools.
Yeah, like that was associated with the dragons. And really? I had never thought about that, and this is a whole new thing for me that I want to investigate and read more about. But But yeah, so you start thinking about it, that's really kind of interesting. But I'm a firm believer that there's more to dragons than we think, especially when you start talking about people seeing things in the sky that they can't explain. And I'm not talking necessarily UFOs, but I'm talking about like the things that what were they calling them at one point in time?
You talking about Thunderbirds?
No, it's like they were clear, but you could see them. But they moved like those
almost like
air
a
dragons. Yeah, they moved like the dragons though from Chinese and Japanese mythology.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look it up. But I saw, this is how old I am. I saw something about it on Donahue back in the day when I was homesick. And I was like, that's really cool. But they're organic because of the way they were moving. It wasn't something that was mechanical. It was, and I just can't think of what they're called.
That right there looks like spirits drifting or something, don't it?
It's not as crisp on the screen share, but it's crazy looking. It almost like I don't even know how to
It's
explain that,
almost
Stephen.
faces.
Yeah.
You know, faces with energy streaming out behind it.
Yeah. That's.
Oh.
See stuff like that.
So-
Right there's the type of stuff you run into when you're Bigfoot.
But if
Let
I
me tell
remember,
y'all-
these weren't super high. These weren't like up in the sky like UFOs. These were closer
These-
to Earth.
Yeah, these were probably like 7 or 8 feet off the ground.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Now, have you ever seen anything like that with your naked eye?
I've seen the orbs. See the orb that we used to see out there. I would describe it as probably being the size of a baseball, and it was a white light. It did not light up anything around it. It's almost as if that light just stayed within the circle.
Now, what do you think about radiation associated with
I
these
know Laura's
orbs?
giving me PTSD right
Yeah. No police cars out there, Laura. But yeah, that's there's yeah. See, there's all sorts of stuff out there. I've had people tell me some things within the past year, some weird stuff. There's several different types of little people. You know, you
Oh
get
yeah.
I mean, in Kentucky, y'all have the little people. You have the Kentucky Goblin. In Oklahoma, they have, I think, what they call the Narumbi, which
You know,
is
they
like,
turned the one in Kentucky into a Pokemon.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, one of the
That's
original
awesome.
Pokemon, I think it's called Sabla, is based on the little people in Kentucky, like the attack that happened.
Wow. Yeah, see, a friend of mine who lives out in Western Kentucky, he was telling me about one that it was a type of little person. It was about 4 feet tall. And security guards around the casino got to chasing it.
I'd love to have seen
And
that.
this thing got up on top of the buildings, was running across the top of the buildings. It would let them catch up. Then it would take off again. It was just messing with them. Yeah. Just messing with them.
Because
Well-
it could.
Well, see, that makes me think more about the Fae lore that I'm familiar with. Is that they, you know, they're not necessarily malevolent, but they are very mischievous, and they will
Yeah.
mess with humans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So leave your milk and leave your honey out come
Oh, yeah.
midsummer.
Yeah. See,
I mean, because what have you lost by doing that? Nothing.
That's right.
yes. See, the little people. I mean, that's the little people. Those were the people. Those were the ones that the native tribes they didn't mess with.
The little things scare me the most,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, because they're
Little
not
thing.
always nice.
Well, no. Well, you got red caps. You know, in lore, and they were like the most bloodthirsty of the Fae, weren't they, Morgana?
Yes, yes. They were almost like the elite of fighting and stuff like that because they were so bloodthirsty.
This sounds like our society.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Audrey. I think it was Audrey's comment about needing more people to take this stuff serious. We have a good time on this show, I know, and we like to laugh. But I can say with absolute honesty that every one of us is absolutely serious about these things.
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Because, like I said, you know, it's that validation thinking. Okay, because you know, for the first, you know, through my teenage years and early 20s, it's like, okay, people think I'm out of my mind, so I'm not going to talk about this out loud, you know. And that was, you know, here's my age. I was going to the library to do research, you know, and I'm from a little bitty town right at the edge of the Delta in Mississippi. So they didn't have a lot of subjects like that. You could find a Bigfoot thing occasionally, or the Loch Ness monster, maybe a ghost story here or there. But compared to what we could get our hands on in the late 90s when the internet started coming out,
Yeah.
and before they blocked everything,
I have to know something about you guys though.
What's that?
So just like I was talking about us doing stupid stuff when I was like 10 or 13, whenever you guys were young, did you ever go to the Crossroads?
Hey,
Times.
let me tell you something. The original Crossroads is 15 miles from where I grew up. Were they
Really?
in Mississippi? Yeah. In Panther Swamp, Mississippi, in Delta National Forest. Yep. So, yes, I have been there. Not as a child, but as an adult.
Well, I just mean like
yeah.
making stupid decisions. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, okay. Oh, here, let's play with the Ouija board.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
need to do that.
big one.
Things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, so, yeah.
I used to spend a lot of time in cemeteries.
Uh-huh.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah, I've spent too much time in the cemeteries.
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah, my great aunt and uncle lived next door to one, and I just thought it was so cool to go to their house, because we could go play in the cemetery.
We used to play hide and seek in the cemetery in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was funner than going to a graveyard at like 11 o'clock at night and just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did that when I was a kid. Go walking
Yeah.
through the cemetery with a friend,
Yep.
It's just-
Steven has sent some more
oh,
footage. I'm going to show you here.
That's right, Mona.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
judge.
right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's
That looks like somebody being like Thanos into existence or something.
It does.
Is that
Yeah.
one of you, Steven?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one from where you were standing one in that little
yeah,
thing. There.
yeah. I went ahead and sent him a picture of the fat guy too. So yeah.
Right there it is. That's oh god, that scares me to death. I hate little things like
Yeah. You see how close I was to it. I had no idea it was there until we saw the game camera pictures.
I was stomped.
Did it mess with your tennis shoelaces or bootlaces?
I don't think
What do
so.
you think that is?
I've had a friend of mine, Robin. She told me she thought it could have been an elemental.
Uh-huh.
Has to be right.
Well, that's what we saw. They look like. I mean, they're people shaped, but they're not.
Right.
No
They don't.
features.
They're well. I mean, the ones we saw, they did have features. They had little clothes. I mean, it was like real people. But it made me think. There's a picture, but it was like it's like they were. It's so weird, but it was like they were gathering. But again, this is around midsummer. But it was like a little troop of them, and it was me and probably about 5 other people, and I was not the only one who saw them. All of us did. In fact, they were pointed out to us, and again, no drugs or alcohol was involved in the making of this moment.
There would have had to be
And they-
afterwards.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that you just, it's like you doubt, did I really see that? Was that just my mind? It's like that, but that's how you have to just trust when you have these experiences is that it's not, it's like seeing an apparition, it's not, as solid as the person standing next to you, but it's like almost.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, but yeah, had lots of experiences out there during those times, and I miss that stuff. That's one reason that we do Weird Realities, is just so we can meet other people and talk about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
It's
why I
nice
love
knowing
these
you're not
shows.
alone.
Exactly.
Same.
Yep. I look forward to it because like I said, it's knowing it and thinking it and everything. It sure is nice to have somebody you can bounce it off of and get an opinion of.
Well, and recently, I was in a situation where my work people were talking about Bigfoot in like a ha-ha kind of way. And I'm like, people used to ha-ha about the UFOs, but we ain't ha-haing about the UFOs anymore, folks.
Right. The government finally fessed up.
Yeah, I mean we're having
Yeah.
Pentagon's having meetings about this stuff and submitting photos. So
Exactly.
Well, I'm
Exactly.
definitely the crazy one in my neighborhood. I've got a 400-pound Bigfoot statue in my front yard.
HOA loves that.
HOA does love that.
I am going to
That's
tell you
cool.
too the same thing. I go around and put stones and crystals and stuff, just around my land, different places, different things, different directions, and everything. And then the little people who come visit me that call me Gigi come running to me. Look what I found in the woods. Well, leave
that
it there. Yeah. But they're as bad about shinies as I am. So,
Well, I'll tell y'all, and this is just diving into a little bit about my personal life, but y'all know that I took care of my mom on hospice. Well, when she was getting ready to cross over, every day I took photos in the backyard, and I think I've shown y'all some of them.
mhm.
Because no, there was this blue sword that appeared in these photos.
Really?
Yep.
Yes, I'll send them to you. I'll have to find them. But
Yeah.
I documented this stuff, and it wasn't the same time of day. It wasn't the same location. This was just my backyard, and it would show up in these photos. But I took these photos every day until she left, and I can tell y'all that there were things that would appear closer until it was time. Because my mom, which again, I'm very much into life and death, and I don't believe death is the end. I believe it's a new beginning. So having this experience with my mother just cemented that.
I swear, these comments are killing me.
Well, Tully's our resident Ouija boards commandeerer.
No, yeah, I'm a
Yes.
collector, Laura. I have lots of different Ouija boards from different periods, and even a couple spirit boards from pre monetization of Awaja.
He's got other oddities too that some people consider illegal.
Oh yeah, lots of oddities in this house.
Yeah, some of them are fresh.
I'm really going to have to come see you one day.
It doesn't, for everything that's in the house, it's very pleasant. Like it's not a heavy. Like you don't walk in the house and you're like, oh my god, where am I at?
Until you walk upstairs and it's hot as hell.
But that's the thing is though, you handle the things that are questionable.
Oh yeah.
So and that makes a huge difference because I can walk in my house and if anything's the least little bit off, I'm moving stuff, I'm checking to see where it's coming from. It's like, okay, somebody or something is causing a problem.
I do have one board. I think it's a board from the 60s that only one thing ever comes through. It's the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the sword's handle. It goes right straight up through that. But this was taken shortly after my mother passed away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it did dim out some after she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, and the sword I don't think was associated with her, but
Right.
but you can see there was lots of little stuff floating around in these pictures. And I took these pictures every day. My mom died on January 7th. This was the 13th.
Yep.
Let me see. This was December 27th. We're getting ready for her to pass away.
Mm-hmm.
Another one from the 27th. My beautiful hair. But you see all the different colors.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who taught me about this with the pictures. You see?
Yep.
I know I've got more. And there's something right there, which I don't know if y'all can see that.
Yeah.
But there's like an orb or something there.
Ghost bunny.
Here's another one of the sword.
Yep.
I think. Well, no, that's not the sword. Sorry, I'm looking there. The sword started appearing. But again, these are all my mom's getting ready to pass, and their stuff. You see all the stuff in the picture?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who knows, Audrey, what's underground or in caves, mountains? I mean, underwater.
I mean, as often as they find extinct animals anymore, I mean, they could just be out in the woods chilling.
Uh-huh.
Instead of the legs or hot dogs thing, it can be hair or bird's nest.
Here's a good one. I think this might have been the first time that it appeared.
Huh?
You see it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was
Yep.
really weird. And it stopped appearing.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said,
Sorry.
it was amazing too that, like I said, it would be coming from different directions on different pictures. You know, because like I said, you were shooting the same, outward every time, but one time it would be coming from the bottom up, then it would be coming from the top down.
Yeah,
and
I tried because I went out every day and I didn't record them all. I've actually got them on my computer, but I didn't Instagram them all. But I would make sure it was not the same time of day, that it was not the same location, and it was getting them because I was trying to replicate the picture to make sense of it in my head, because it was very clearly a sword.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a spirit sword that I was supposed to get. It was a gift from my guides, I guess, and once I claimed it, it stopped appearing. But like I said, I noticed that the other entities in the photos and all, like I said, it was a gradual build up until my mother passed, and then they went away. But that was an incredible situation, and I think I've told y'all that Tracy did a guidance for my mom when my mom crossed over to make sure my mom got to where she needed to go. Which, and y'all, I don't think that y'all know this. My mother had a stroke, and she had she lived 18 years past the time she had her stroke, which is incredible, but her mind was not where it was. So we just wanted to make sure that she got to where she was going. And it was the crossing over ceremony that we did was phenomenal, because my mother went back to being the same Spitfire that she was when I was young before she had the stroke. And Tracy never knew her. So Tracy's relaying this information, the stuff my mom said to her, which was hilarious. But she didn't know my mom, so that's what made it even more poignant. But yeah. So there's a lot of stuff out there we can't see that's going on, that you just gotta try and be aware of.
Yep. Not everything is imagination.
Agreed.
I mean, otherwise, not so many people would experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, we've gone almost a half an hour over. Yay!
Yay.
I thought that you were doing an hour and a half on these. I'm sorry.
Oh no, well, we were, and then we had the other show that was coming back to back, so we went to an hour. So we can go an hour and a half. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
So yeah. So hey, we're almost at the end of our time. We appreciate all of you being here to talk with us about cryptids and all the other little side roads we tend to take. Next week we will have Max Hawthorne, and we're talking aqua cryptids.
Aqua,
or water cryptids, or whatever you want to call them. So make sure you follow us. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you'd like to hear. Tell us what we're not doing all that well. And until next time, stay weird.
Bye, guys.
See
Bye,
ya.
everyone.